You lied?
Camera.
Girl, I didn't know you lied. I had a whole bite of food in my mouth.
That's why you gotta be ready at
At
all
all
times.
times, because you just never know. So here's a question for you I can pose. So should you be able to date someone you work with? What are your thoughts? If you work with them, not necessarily a boss, just someone you work with, should you be able to date?
I think you should. Why wouldn't you?
Why? Tell me why.
Because
If it was you, I'm asking you as yourself. If you worked with someone at your job, could you date them? And tell me why.
yes.
Why?
One, they're employed. Clearly, I know they're employed.
They got a whole
So
job.
I'm like, okay, that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
They're making some money. I mean, unless we're working in two different departments, like maybe I'm working in IT and he's the trash man. But hey,
You still got a job, right?
he got a job. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like I actually was like kind of like in a relationship with somebody I worked with one time.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go? How'd that work out for you?
It was interesting because we weren't making it known we were seeing each other. So that was the interesting part.
What job was this? And how old were you?
It went nowhere where I knew you. So that's number one.
It was nowhere what?
Where I knew you.
Okay. Well, no, not to say I'm trying to figure it out.
We don't even work together anywhere where there would have been anybody even in the runnings for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
So yeah, so no, it was interesting because, like I said, it was more or less like we weren't telling people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just kind of keeping it on a hush hush. Like one of my co-workers who I was really cool with, she knew.
Mm-hmm.
She said she kind of had a feeling, and but then that's interesting because then like he was really handsome, and so women just would gravitate towards him. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of weird. Like if I kind of peeped or saw that somebody might have been trying to push up on him or something like that. And then, you know, but I gotta like be cool about it.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
What made you think about that?
It was just a question that I read somewhere recently, or heard somewhere. Maybe I heard it on the reel or something. You know, I love the reel. Mm-hmm. And maybe they posted it there, but and I thought about it and I was like, what are my thoughts on that? I have two thoughts. One, I think that if they're your like superior, your boss or something, the answer is no. Absolutely not.
Absolutely
because not. You know, one could see that as the boss preying on the help.
Then you'd be like, me too movement.
The subordinate.
Me too, happened to me too.
Right. And yes, that, or it could be one of those type of situations, or it could be where, you know, the boss favors that employee over someone else, maybe for like a promotion, or she needs to, you know, go out to lunch every day and nobody else, you know, things like that. You know, we got to be fair. Right. That's my first thought. And then my second thought about that is, I think if you're on the same level, I don't see a problem with it as long as it's professional. Because like you, I did date someone that I was working with in my career. Like I was in a school and it was another teacher on the same grade as me. And just like you, it was like nobody's supposed to know. But there were rumblings, there were rumors and things like that. But we never came right out and said it. But it got tricky. It got tricky a lot because, you're at the same job, you're there every day, all day together. Everything that happened within the day, and it's just tricky. I don't know. The answer is yes, you can. You just got to be professional about it because,
Right. And I think that's the hard part. And because as women, I think it would be very hard for us to separate like our emotions and be professional at the same time. Like you said, just because I think women are jealous type. Like men, and this kind of, men can be with multiple women and it don't really faze them.
Right.
But women, we are, I think, more possessive of what we think is ours or what is ours. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you were saying, especially if it was a supervisor or boss, then you're gonna be analyzing every single thing, every single look, every single and especially like you said, if you are kind of keeping it on the low, because then you're gonna be wondering like, well, how many other women is he keeping it on the low with too?
Exactly. So I don't know. It's just tricky. It's very tricky. You have to have two very mature people, and you got to have conversations about the expectations at the workplace, the boundaries. You got to set all those things up beforehand. I think it can work. I think a lot of relationships grow that way or start out that way because, it's all about the opportunity to meet someone.
Right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say something else. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think especially like in our profession, being educators, if you meet a man that's an educator, for me, first of all, that speaks to intellect. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's on any level, even if you're teaching elementary school, but you would have to be a certain type of person that wants to educate other people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that would be one of the first things that probably would attract a woman to, especially a male educator. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the fact that you like kids, you want to be around children, depending again on what age group. So but yeah, I think it's tricky. It could be tricky too, because like you're saying, we're together. We might, if we're working in the same job, we potentially could be together all the time.
Right.
And that could kind of get a little old too.
Right.
So, but I could see how people who work together can kind of gravitate towards each other because you might have like common interest. Again, the way your brain works, the other person's brain might work similarly because you might be in the same field. So I can understand it.
Because here's the thing, Destiny, when you go to work, you're at work every day. Sometimes you spend more time with these people at work than you do with people at your house, at home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you guys have like personalities and you guys have the same interests and you start bouncing off that chemistry with each other and you can tell that you're compatible in those ways, that's what happened to me. Like originally, this person that I'm speaking about, he was not even really my type. You know how we have types? He was not my type. But what drew me to him was his personality. Like he has such a strong personality. He was humorous, just a great guy overall, right? And then the fact that you mixing in, seeing them every day, 8 hours a day, eating lunch with them every day, like you guys are spending lots of quality time together. So let me ask you this: do you think you have to be equally yoked with the person that you're dating?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to rewind to the guy. Okay. So what happened?
Girl, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So
Drew Fletcher. So what's hilarious about that? You know how we were talking yesterday? We were talking about how the kids be listening to everything you say. You remember the conversation we were having yesterday when I was in the car? Yes. So a couple of hours later, Naomi at the sink washing dishes. Come on, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother.
They are sponges. They listen, Linda. They listen to everything. You think they're not listening? They are listening.
Come on, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother. What are you talking about? What are you over there talking about? Right. I meant to call you then, but anywho's. All right, so
that's hilarious.
You said that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. All right.
Yeah, but it did. Well, clearly it did not work out.
Did it have anything to do with the fact that you all were working together? Huh? I said, did it have anything to do with the fact that you all were working together?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay. I'll get the tea later.